scene, America. The occasion, the biggest war bond drive in history. In Washington, D.C., the crowds watch. A long parade rolling toward the Capitol. And the President of the United States is host to heroes of the war, congratulating them for their valor. Soldiers from every corner of the earth, proud of their honor. In Chicago, Illinois, the crowds stand in the warm Midwestern sun as our soldiers and our sailors go marching past. Down they come, down Michigan Boulevard in the bright sun, arms swinging, and the crowds cheer them, cheering tribute to the fighters of our war. And in the biggest city in the world, a Saturday in hot New York, 3 millions turn out in honor of our servicemen, jamming and shoving just to get a peek at them, to salute the flag as it goes swinging past the stand of famous guests, saluting too, to watch the floats go crawling up Fifth Avenue, some of them spirited and gay, the floats of friendly nations, some grim reminders of nations lost. Three million Americans got up this morning and put on old shoes to march in the war bond parade, marching in it, part of it, belonging in the fight through war bonds. Up miles of cheering, cluttered avenue until it's dark, and they go to their homes. The homes throughout the city which they've joined together to protect. Machinists, shop girls, merchants, welders, through whose mass efforts come the planes and ships and cannon for our army. And part of the parade for war bonds are the fighters. Sailor, soldier, Marine. Still us, still Americans dressed in the uniform of the United States, the garb of war. American soldiers, American sailors, skilled and trained for modern warfare. Proudly they march, the fighters for 130 million Americans, fighters ready to die for the precious right to be just people when it's over. Proudly they march, our fighters. They're not parading for us, for the crowds, and we aren't parading for them. In uniform and out, it's all of us together, jamming up the sidewalks, streaming endlessly, one big parade across the nation to make the drive for war bonds a success in every state, in every town. And to these war bond rallies all across the nation come the workers from the factories to listen. Colored laborers in Texas, office workers in Ohio, people everywhere banding together to sell war bonds. War bonds, they're part of the fight. The soldiers listen too. In New York State, America's soldiers listen.
Find Army privates willing to give up a portion of their small pay to invest in war bonds. Who among 150 million people can be selfish enough to refuse to follow their example?
Civilians listen too. 125,000 of them jam into Chicago's Soldiers Field to listen to the biggest rally of them all.
General MacArthur has said, if we will give the boys the weapons to fight with, they'll take care of the fighting. We know now that he is right. We know that our part is to work and work and work for the sake of our fighting men, for the sake of ourselves, and for the sake of our right to shape our own futures as free men. We will all stand together to finish this job.
Delivered, one war bond. Roaring planes sing out to the attack. Delivered, one war bond. Steel plates for a fighting tank. Delivered, one war bond. Received, one powerful howitzer. Delivered by the American people. This is our part of the fight. This is what we buy. And we've geared together into one, the greatest war production in all history. Mighty, ruthless weapons for our fighters. Purchased by Americans for our soldiers, for our sailors. The ammunition of civilians, war bonds. War bonds, ammunition bought by civilians to bombard our enemies. Bought for our fighters, guns and tanks, tanks and ships, ships and planes, planes and fierce, relentless ammunition, the terrible cost of war sustained through war bonds, more tanks, more planes, more ships for our country. We know the cost. We know our fighters know the cost. But higher than one life, higher than the costly price we have to pay through war bonds for all-out war against our enemy, higher than all else, the people stand cheering wide across the plains and mountains of America. For we know that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth.